I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here writing this out, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with Lisa for about 5 years now. We met in college, hit it off pretty fast, and things seemed solid for a long time. She's beautiful, confident, a little bitchy sometimes, but I like that about her. We got engaged last year, and everything was supposed to be perfect. Wedding planning, future plans, the whole thing. Or so I thought. The thing is, I started noticing little things about Lisa that didn't sit right. She'd be more secretive with her phone, always had some excuse for not answering for a long time. Suddenly, she'd be busy at work, or tired from running errands. I didn't think much of it at first. I mean, we all have our moments, right? But then I started catching her in little lies. She'd tell me she was at her sister's all day, but then I'd see her posts on social media from some bar downtown. Or she'd say she was working late, then I'd find out she was out with friends, not even pretending to be busy. Things got worse when we went to my sister's wedding last month. I was excited, big family event, friends, a chance to relax, but Lisa was acting weird. She was overly attentive to her phone, sneaking glances at her purse, and I caught her slipping something into her bag more than once. I was asking her what's going on, but she just brushed it off, said I was being paranoid. That's Lisa for you, very good at lying, very good at acting innocent even when she's caught red-handed. The wedding itself was a blur of smiling faces and champagne, but I couldn't shake this weird feeling that something was off. I was standing there giving a toast, trying to focus on how much I loved my wife and how everything was supposed to be perfect. I was trusting her with our future, with my heart, and I genuinely believed she was the one. That's why what happened next hit me like a freight train. It was the day after the wedding, and I was helping my sister clear out the hotel room, just being casual. That's when I found it. Her purse was on the bed, and I noticed something shiny inside. My heart skipped a beat. I reached in and pulled out a hotel key card. Not just any key. Her name was on it, but the room number was what caught my eye. It was a room I recognized from the hotel where my best friend Dave was staying. I froze. My mind started racing. Why would she have a hotel key for a room where Dave was? Did she really cheat on me? I couldn't believe it at first. I felt this strange mix of anger, disbelief, and just pure betrayal. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but everything in my gut told me that Lisa had been lying about her whereabouts and that she was cheating. I looked around her purse and found some suspicious things. Condoms, receipts from that same hotel, even a lipstick I'd never seen before. It all clicked, and I knew I'd just been played. My wife, the woman I trusted with everything, was cheating on me with my best friend, and they did it at my sister's wedding of all places. That was the moment I realized my life had just changed forever. I took a step back and stared at the hotel keycard in my hand, feeling my stomach churn. My head was pounding and I couldn't breathe right. Everything was spinning, the betrayal, the shock, the absolute disbelief that Lisa could do this to me, right in front of everyone, at the wedding I was so proud to have her be a part of. I didn't want to just burst into tears or scream right there, but honestly, I was so overwhelmed I could barely stand. I folded the keycard and shoved it deep into my pocket, not even sure what I was planning to do with it yet. For the next couple of hours, I kept pretending to be normal, but inside I was boiling. I kept replaying everything, how she acted, how she lied, the little signs I ignored. And then I started thinking about Dave. How could my best friend do this? How could Lisa trust him enough to cheat with him, especially right after we just celebrated our family? I knew Dave was a good guy, or at least I thought he was, but now I was questioning everything. I didn't confront her right away. No, I needed to see her reaction to catch her in another lie. Instead, I waited. I stayed quiet during the reception, but my mind was racing, planning what I'd say, what I'd do. I didn't want to just lose my wife. I wanted to make her feel the pain of betrayal, to see her squirm like I was doing inside. I knew I had to be smart about this. I couldn't just blow up and ruin everything immediately. I needed proof, time to understand exactly how deep this got. That night, I stayed in my hotel room, pretending to sleep. I kept her door slightly open, listening. I heard some muffled voices, her laughter, the faint sound of her talking to someone else. When she finally came into the room, she was dressed casually, but her eyes were too bright, her smile too fake. I saw her check her purse again and quickly shove something inside her bag. That was enough. I had to know for sure. I waited until she went to sleep, then quietly got up and reached into her purse. My hands trembled as I pulled out her wallet, and sure enough, tucked inside, I found the hotel keycard again. Along with that, I discovered a few receipts, one from the hotel, a few from a nearby coffee shop. But what really broke me was a small folded note she had written, something about how she wanted to see him again, and how she hated lying but couldn't resist. That was the moment I realized she'd planned this, probably for weeks. I sat there, feeling numb, holding everything in my hands. I kept thinking about all the years we'd been together, the times I trusted her blindly. I felt like a fool. And then rage started creeping in. How dare she do this at my sister's wedding? How dare she lie and manipulate me so easily? I knew I couldn't just pretend everything was fine anymore. I had to confront her, but I also knew I had to be careful. I couldn't just let her walk away thinking she'd gotten away with it. No, I wanted justice. I wanted her to know I wasn't some fool who'd let her get away with this. As dawn approached, I made my decision. I was going to confront her. No more hiding, no more pretending. I wanted her to see that I knew everything, that her lies were over. I didn't care what she said, what excuses she threw at me. I was done being the fool. It was time she faced the truth. And that truth was I'd find a way to make her regret it. I didn't have a clear plan yet, but I knew one thing for sure. This was just the beginning. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding head and a storm of emotions swirling inside me. I didn't sleep much. My mind kept racing over everything I'd uncovered. That hotel keycard, the note, the receipts, all proof that Lisa had been lying to my face, even as she acted innocent and bitchy and dismissive of my concerns. I had to confront her, but I also knew I couldn't do it without a plan. I needed to be cold, calculated, and make sure I got her to admit everything, or at least make her regret what she'd done. I waited until she was in the bathroom, brushing her teeth or whatever she was doing, and then I quietly slipped out of the hotel room. I didn't want her to see my face, not yet. I needed to find a way to get into her purse again, maybe get more proof or at least a confession. I figured I'd better also call my sister, who had been a witness to everything and could help me figure out what to do next. But honestly, I didn't even want her involved if I could avoid it. This was between me and Lisa, and I was already burning with anger. I slipped into the hotel lobby, acting casual, pretending I was just waiting for a cab. My heart was pounding so loud I thought everyone would hear it. I quickly grabbed her purse from the hotel room and took it to a quiet corner. My hands shook as I rummaged through it, more receipts, a lipstick that didn't belong to her, and then, buried at the bottom, her phone. I hesitated. I knew I was crossing a line, but I needed to see what she had been hiding. I unlocked her phone with the little code I remembered from before, and what I saw made my stomach turn. There were dozens of texts from Dave, explicit messages, sexting, plans to meet up, even some photos. It wasn't just a fling. This was something serious enough that they'd gone behind my back at my sister's wedding, while I was giving a toast and trusting her with everything. I couldn't believe she'd been that careless, that manipulative. She had lied to my face, made me feel like I was crazy for questioning her. And Dave, my best friend, was just as much a piece of shit. I felt this deep, burning betrayal, and I knew I couldn't keep quiet anymore. I left her purse where I found it and walked away from the scene before she came back. I had all the evidence I needed now. It was time for the confrontation I'd been planning in my head ever since I saw that hotel key. I wasn't going to yell or scream, at least not yet. I wanted her to realize I knew everything, that I'd caught her red-handed. I was going to make her admit she cheated, that she lied about everything, about the wedding, about us, about her supposed love for me. When I got back to the hotel room, she was waiting for me, feigning innocent as if she hadn't just been caught red-handed. Her eyes flickered nervously, but she tried to act like she didn't know what I was talking about. "What's wrong, Mike? You look like you've seen a ghost." That's when I pulled out. The phone end showed her the messages. Her face went pale, and for the first time I saw the bitchy mask crack just a little. "You lied to me," I said coldly. "You cheated on me at my sister's wedding with Dave, while I was giving a toast, trusting you with everything. I found your hotel key, your phone full of messages, everything. How long has this been going on? She tried to deny it, of course, claiming I was paranoid, crazy, or just jealous. She told me it was just sex, that it didn't mean anything, that Dave was just a friend she was bored with. But I wasn't buying it. I could see the guilt all over her face, the way she avoided my eyes. I felt a mixture of rage and heartbreak. How could she be so cold? How could she do this to me, right there in front of everyone? That confrontation was like a slow-burning fuse. I remember feeling this cold resolve take over, like I'd already made up my mind but just needed to hear her say it. I told her that I knew she'd been lying for weeks, maybe longer, and that I was done being played. She kept lying, throwing out random excuses, trying to blame everything on Dave or saying I was overreacting. But I could see the truth in her eyes. She was caught and she knew it. It was the moment I realized that whatever future I'd imagined with her was crumbling right in front of me. All the trust, the hopes of building a life together, gone. And honestly, part of me felt relief. I'd been so damn blind to her manipulations, but now I saw her for what she was, a bitchy, selfish woman who betrayed me at the worst possible moment. I knew what I had to do next, but right then, all I could think about was how betrayed I felt, how stupid I'd been to trust her, and how I'd never let her do this to me again. The confrontation left me numb, but at the same time, it ignited this fierce fire inside me. I didn't bother trying to hide my anger or disappointment anymore. I looked her straight in the eyes and told her she could pack her bags and leave. No more pretending, no more lies. She tried to spin some bullshit, saying she didn't want to hurt me, that it was just sex, that Dave was just a distraction because she was bored. But I didn't care about her excuses anymore. The damage was done, and I knew I had to face the reality that everything we had built was over. In the days that followed, I felt like I was in some kind of emotional free fall. One moment I was furious, thinking about all the times I trusted her, all the plans we made, the future I'd envisioned. The next, I'd feel this crushing sadness, like I'd lost a part of myself. Honestly, I felt stupid. How did I not see it? How did I miss all the signs? But there's no point dwelling on that now. I had the proof, and that was what mattered. I decided I needed space, time to process what had happened. Lisa moved out quickly. Of course, she played the victim, crying, guilt-tripping, trying to say she still loved me but just made a mistake. I didn't buy it. I knew her kind. She'd never admit she was wrong unless she got caught. And she got caught bad. I cut her off completely. No texts, no calls, no explanations. I blocked her on everything. I needed to distance myself from her toxicity and manipulation. But here's the thing. What hurt almost more than the betrayal itself was the fact that Dave, my best friend, had been part of this. I'd always trusted him, considered him a brother. And now I saw his true colors. They say you find out who your real friends are in times of trouble, and I guess that's true. I started questioning everything about him. Did he ever really care about me, or was I just someone to have fun with while he was doing Lisa? That realization hit me like a punch to the gut. My wife, my best friend, both of them had betrayed me in the worst way possible. I started doing some serious soul-searching. I kept asking myself how I'd let it get this far, how I'd been so blind. But honestly, I think I was blinded by love, by hope that things would somehow get better. Now I see that some betrayals cut so deep, they leave scars you can't fix with just apologies or promises. I knew I had to move on, rebuild myself, and learn from this nightmare. The truth is, I still miss the person I thought Lisa was. I keep replaying the good moments, the honest conversations, trying to find some reason for all of this. But I can't. That version of her, the one I trusted, was gone long before I found out. Now I'm left with nothing but the raw reality of betrayal and a broken heart. Still, I'm trying to focus on healing, on walking away stronger. I know I'll never forget what happened, but I also know I won't let it define me. I'll come out of this, scars and all, a little wiser, a lot more cautious. The hardest part now is accepting that I might never fully trust anyone again. But I also realize that I don't want to live in distrust. I want to find someone who truly respects me, who values honesty. For now, I'm just trying to breathe, to understand that sometimes life throws you these brutal lessons, and you gotta keep going anyway. I hope anyone out there who's going through something similar finds the strength to walk away and heal. Because trust me, you're better off without someone who cheats, lies, and manipulates your life. After I kicked Lisa out and cut all contact, I felt like I was walking around in a fog. Part of me wanted to drown everything out with work, busy myself so I wouldn't have to face the mess I was left with. But another part, deep down, knew I had to confront what I was feeling, face the truth about myself and what I'd been through. I knew I couldn't just pretend I was okay, not after everything I'd seen, felt, and learned. This was going to take time, and I had to be patient, even though the pain was raw and constant. In the beginning, I was angry most of the time. Furious at Lisa for cheating, furious at Dave for being such a piece of shit, and furious at myself for trusting them both so blindly. I kept replaying the wedding, her smile, the way she looked at Dave like he was the only person in the world, like she didn't give a damn about what I thought or felt. It was like I had been so caught up in trying to build a future that I ignored all the signs right in front of me. She was bitchy, yes, but I always thought it was just her personality. Turns out she was hiding something much worse. I started seeing a therapist after a few weeks. I needed help processing the anger and betrayal, and honestly, I just wanted someone to tell me I wasn't crazy for feeling this way. Talking to someone who knew how to listen without judging helped, but it didn't erase the pain. I kept asking myself why. Why did she do this? Why did Dave betray me like that? I kept thinking about the good times, the promises we made, and how I had believed in her even when things got tough. Now, I was left with nothing but a shattered sense of trust and a whole lot of questions. Over time, I realized I had to take control of my own recovery. I started focusing on myself, going to the gym, reconnecting with friends, and trying to rebuild some sense of normalcy. But every now and then, I'd catch myself thinking about the wedding, about the moment I found her with the hotel key. The anger would come rushing back, all that pain and frustration that I'd tried to push down. I'd get pissed again at how she could lie so effortlessly, how she could do this to me and then turn around and act like the victim. That bitchy attitude, her manipulations, they all just made me realize how much I'd been blind. I also started questioning everything about my relationship with Dave. I mean, he was my best friend. I used to tell him everything, trust him more than anyone. But now, I see that some friendships are just illusions. You think you know someone, but then they stab you in the back, just like Lisa did. I can't say I've completely forgiven him. Honestly, I don't know if I ever will. But I've learned that sometimes people show you who they really are when the stakes are high. I have to accept that, let go of the illusions I had about him and focus on healing myself. And that's what I've been trying to do little by little. There's no quick fix for heartbreak like this. No magic words or instant solutions. It's a slow process of rebuilding, of patching up the wounds and learning to trust again, even if I'm cautious now. I started dating again, but I do it carefully. No rush. No jumping into anything serious until I feel ready. I don't want to make the same mistakes, and I definitely don't want to get involved with someone who's just going to betray me again. Honestly, I've learned a lot from all of this, about trust, about people, and most importantly, about myself. I've realized I shouldn't ignore the little signs, and I shouldn't ignore my gut instinct. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. It's better to be alone than in a relationship built on lies and betrayal. I'm not fully healed yet, but I know I will be eventually. And I hope everyone out there who's been betrayed like I was finds the strength to walk away, to cut their losses, and to rebuild their life. Because, at the end of the day, you're better off alone than with someone who doesn't respect or love you the way you deserve. Looking back now, I realize that this whole experience was a brutal lesson in trust and self-respect. I thought I knew Lisa inside and out, but she proved me wrong in the worst way possible. The betrayal cut deep, and the aftermath was a mess I didn't expect: anger, sadness, doubt, and a strange sense of liberation too. Despite everything, I'm grateful I caught her when I did. It saved me from years of living in a lie, and it forced me to reevaluate what I want from life and relationships. I've learned that people can hide their true selves behind a pretty face or a bitchy attitude, but eventually, the truth comes out. I know now that if something feels off, I shouldn't ignore it, no matter how much I want to believe in fairy tales. The key is to listen to your gut and protect yourself. Trust is something that's earned, and once broken, it's damn hard to rebuild. Since then, I've focused on myself. I've gone through therapy, rebuilt my confidence, and started dating again, slowly, cautiously. I don't expect to find perfection, but I do expect honesty and respect. I don't want to be part of a lie anymore. People who betray you do so because they're selfish, and that's a reflection of who they are, not who you are. I've learned to walk away from those who don't deserve my trust and to hold on tight to those who do. To anyone going through something similar, I'll say this: don't ignore the signs, stay true to yourself, and don't settle for less than you deserve. The pain might feel unbearable now, but time heals. You'll come out stronger, wiser, and more aware of who you are. Trust is fragile, but it's also worth fighting for. Just be sure it's with someone who values it as much as you do. And never forget, sometimes the best revenge is simply walking away and reclaiming your happiness.